Yo, what's up? It's me, Shiekrunner here. So, I've decided like 2 days ago to do a spliced run of Donkey Kong 94. So just prove a point whether it's possible to get the sub 1 hour with the current strat that I use or not. Um, so I was actually surprised that it only took me 1.5 days to finish it. I thought it would take much longer than that. But here it is. I basically have the video and we'll see whether it's possible for me to get the sub 1 hour with the current strat that I use or not. So I didn't do anything fancy in this run, like not anything that's just like you can only do whenever you don't do a single segment. It's every strat that you see I attempt in an actual speed run. So before I start this video though, I do want to say that when it comes to splicing runs, it's usually always used in a very or it's always looked down upon on, but that's because that most people that splice runs use it as a way to um, cheat by pretending that it's actually run and making it look like an actual run. That's not what I do here. I'm just trying to prove a point whether it's possible for me to get the sub 1 hour with the current strats that I use in the run. So I don't pretend like this is an actual run. This is basically this was what you're going to see is basically a run that I've put together out of multiple clips to make it look like a single segment. So I could try strats and get it the way that I want it to be, and I get the RNG that I wanted to have. So, like I said, I could do this much faster, this splice run, but that's not the point of it. The point of it is to see whether, like I said, to see whether the sub 1 hour is possible with the current strat that I use. So, alongside the video, I have my splits to see how my PB compares to the splice run. So, I'm already prepared that my PB is going to be destroyed, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So here, as you can see, this is a video. I thought that this is a good setup for this. So let's just get into it. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. So it wouldn't surprise me that the first split is extremely inaccurate, but that's not actually, it doesn't matter. After like the tutorial, you basically will see only some of best splits. So nothing too crazy. The another reason why I wanted to commentate this is, or the reason why I wanted to commentate this is so that I can see whether I made some obvious splicing errors and to just like talk about it a little bit and into my decision onto why I didn't do that or that, just want to give some insight or what's different, what just want to give my opinion to the run. I think it's much better than just showing the slice run like that. And then I also, like I already said, splicing a run is always looked in a very bad way. So by doing it like this, I can make my intentions clear so that nobody misunderstands my intentions. So I have to get ready to split. So nice. So I think a big part of why this only took me like 1.5 days is because I really didn't give a shit about making this run look like it's single segment. So you will see me have a different life counter from stage to stage sometimes, or like different scores. Like you will see that this is not done single segment. But so, oh, there's a little bit loud outside. I hope you can't hear that. So it wouldn't surprise me actually if I'm not going to be ahead of my sum of best after this world. The reason for that is in my PB, or in my sum of best PB, I actually like I said, there are things that I can do in a run that I only do in when I feel like it or when it's an exception because the run is already kind of in a bad spot. So in my sum of best, I think the 1-7 wall kick is in there, which I don't do in this run or like in the splice run, simply because it's not a strat that I usually would attempt. Like, it's a rare occasion whenever I do so. So it wouldn't surprise me that my sum of best is not going to be beaten by this Spliced Run in World 1. So I felt kind of lucky whenever I did this Spliced Run, because all the tedious stages, like this stage for example, I actually kind of always nailed them on first try. So that kind of saved me time as well, which made me really happy. So another reason why I did this Spliced Run is also I haven't played this. I haven't played that much in the last month or so. I did a little bit of a break. So for me it was really a good way to practice with another incentive just by practicing. Like, usually it's enough for me to practice for the sake of practice, because it is something that's really enjoyable to me. Like, not a lot of people enjoy practice, but I actually really like it. Obviously there's always times where you don't want to do it, but generally I really like practice. But it's even better sometimes if you have another incentive to it, which in this case was, by practicing I basically got the result that I wanted to get. 1 second. My cats, man. They sometimes fight each other. They are fucking animals, man. They don't give a fuck. They bite each other to the death, man. So I really hope I didn't do any obvious splicing errors. Like, I tried this before commentating this, and then I basically noticed this error right at the start. Like, not exactly at the start, but then I basically fixed it, and now I'm back here. So here, this was the stage where I, in my sum of best, did a wall kick instead of what you're seeing here now. So this is the strat that I always go for in a run, by the way. So get ready to split. Oh yeah, my sum of best got beaten. So the Spliced Run got me, man. So also worth noting is, while this is spliced, this is by no means perfect. Like I said, the only thing that I really cared about is like executing the strats, and it didn't even have to be near perfect. It didn't even have to be like close to be perfect or anything like that for me to accept it as for the Spliced Run. Because I want that's like Sheik, aka Todd Rogers, because I wanted to have the human element in it. And now, so I've kind of forgot what I wanted to say after that. That kind of made me laugh inside of me. So yeah, and RNG is also not, like, RNG is crazy good, don't get me wrong, and the execution is also not bad at all, but it's all to be improved. But the point was not to make this like a really decent run, it was just to rather see if it's possible for me to get a sub 1 hour or not with the current strats that I use. So another thing that I can state, or like that I can say about the RNG, this is going to be really hard for me to explain because I'm not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to how a game functions of the inside. I'm not a programmer. I might look into that shit in the future whenever I feel like developing myself in it. I definitely can do that, but I just need to learn it. Everybody can do it, they just need to develop themselves in it. But no, it's not even any advanced shit that I'm talking about. I'm just saying that I'm not the best person when it comes to this kind of stuff. So there's probably some RNG in this run that you won't see in an actual run, obviously, because I manipulated it in a way. But something that I didn't really take into consideration until I was done, because then I kind of notice it, is whenever, for example, I finish a world, you just saw it like 5 stages ago, I save the game at the end of the world and do a soft reset. And by going back to the title screen, what actually, like, the soft reset actually saves time, right? If you start up the game real fast after that and stuff like that. But what also happens is that you manipulate the RNG for the next 4 stages in a very certain way, and it's the same every time if you cancel it at the same time. So that means in a world like, for example, in a world like, that means I would get in a single segment run, always the same RNG from 2-4 to 1 to 2-4, 4-1 to 4-4. There are some differences though, because that's not the only way the RNG is determined. So some RNG patterns, the way that you see them in a run, they won't actually happen the way in a single segment run, and that is something that I've later noticed because I didn't think of it from the get-go. But it's not too crazy, I think, because I think it's not too crazy of a big deal, because in the stages, in the worlds where it actually really matters, for example, World 3 and World 9, I actually don't RNG manipulate at all. I just accept the second time loss of not taking the transition, of not soft resetting, and then I just hope for the best, because by going in the world through the transition, I've had like insane RNGs, and I'd rather hope for that than to get a 1 second time save, but with a set RNG pattern, because in worlds like World 3, World 8, and World 9, it's kind of the same, because it's not really the same, because there are other factors that determine the RNG. So, and in the future, I'm pretty sure that we will find things to make RNG manipulation more consistent, or we will do something else to make, like, I'm pretty sure that there will be development in terms of RNG, you know what I'm saying? So, but let's just not get so technical, let's just enjoy the run and let my PB see destroyed, man. That's what we all here for. We wanna see my PB getting fucked. So for example here, you can see that I could have probably done better, but a little bit better, like split seconds. So let's see how many seconds is the Spliced Run ahead of my sum of best and PB. I'm saying 10 seconds. So I meant 10 seconds of my sum of best, but it was actually just 4 seconds. Obviously it wasn't that much because it's just World 2. But 10 seconds makes sense in Forest to my PB. Oh, 4 seconds of my sum of best ahead. So, like I said, here's the case. You will see the soft reset here in a moment. So what happens is, I save, do the button combination for the soft reset, and you saw how there was a brick wall, and by destroying it at a different time, you set up the RNG in a different way. So if this was a single segment run, the RNG would be in a very specific way. So, and I didn't consider that, so, but I manipulated it in this case. So this wouldn't happen like this in a single segment run. So, and I just didn't think of that. So for example, for this world in a single segment, I actually don't do the RNG manipulation. It was a choice that I came to because I just had it happen so much that 3-4 was an issue to me, and I just never had really good RNG by manipulating it. I always got fucked in a way. So I just made the choice. I take the 1 second time loss, but hope for a really good result. So there was a small routing change. I thought of it as better. That what like I recently uh, um, discovered that, or not really discovered. I actually stumbled across an old post of somebody who won the game a long time ago. I forgot his name. I think he was French, and he suggested it to the old world record holder of the game, Tropicalo, to do it like that. And then I timed it, and it actually seems to be a lot faster, somewhat faster, like half a second or so, or like half a second. I don't know. I think I timed it, and it turned out to be slightly faster. So here I get good RNG as well, so I can get the extra cycle. So there is a dig, by the way, in this picture. Hope you can find it. Like, once you see the dig, you can never unsee it, man. There are actually a couple of places where you can see a panty in this game, a dig, or whatever. Or maybe I just have a dirty mind or something. That's also a possibility. But yeah, there's the dig. You can see that? That's the dig, the conveyor belt. Look at it. That's a fucking dig, man. So 126. So another thing that doesn't always add up is the total, right? So the reason for that is sometimes I messed up like one specific stage, which was like the end stage. So there was like the total, like sometimes the total just doesn't add up because I just didn't really give a fuck of making it look like consistent, because why would I? Because it has no cheating purposes or anything like that. So why would I waste any time or effort in making it look more consistent? It's just a fucking waste of my time. So 3-6 is actually going to be interesting. So I made the choice of going for a strat there. That's a strat that I do in a run in 3-6. That currently I just do a softer version of it, but I plan on actually going with the strat that you see here now. That is upcoming. I've already done this strat multiple times in a run, but then I chose for now not to do it. But this is definitely a strat that I will be doing in the run in the future. This strat right here. It looks insane. It is kind of insane. It's super fun. It saves a little bit of time. Some people would definitely argue that it is not worth it because of the risk of dying there. But it's always like speed is always the most important thing in a speedrun, because everything will ultimately go towards speed. But that doesn't mean that consistency and other things aren't important. In every speedrun you have to make logical decisions of whether a strat is possible and not just do it for the sake of speed. So, but as long as you have a strat consistent, or like somewhat consistent, and you get better and better at it, ultimately it all goes towards the speed. That's like the ultimate goal, right? You understand what I'm trying to say? So it's really important to have consistency, but if there's a strat that's really hard and you have consistency with it, why wouldn't you go for it? So get ready to split. So there we go. You can see already a decent time save towards my PB, and my sum of best is also like 15 seconds, man. It's kind of huge. But like the early game is very RNG dependent. Like it's not all execution. If that was all execution, then I would have that sum of best for the longest already. But it's like the RNG that is really severe in World 3. And World 4. So here you can see it again, RNG manipulation and the transition. So that saves a second, what I just did there, like the transition, like the soft reset, saves a second. And the RNG manipulation is usually a plus, but in some cases, like World 3, World 8, like I said, it can also be a pain. But that is all probably going to change in the future if we find out more about it and if we find better ways to manipulate it and stuff like that. But as of right now, there's not, right? There's nothing that we know. So the only thing I'm really worried about, why I don't think that the the reason why I'm so concerned, like, obviously, if it's possible to get the sub 1 hour, the only thing, if it's possible to get the sub 1 hour with the current strat that I use, it's gonna be close, right? And the thing that I'm worried about mostly is the RNG. I'm not really worried about the execution part of it, right? It definitely requires like insane RNG for it to be possible, right? And insane execution as well, right? It requires both. So I'm gonna just say right here, I don't think, like, I think that in the future a sub 1 hour will be achieved, but it's gonna be really, really fucking hard. And probably not with all of the strats that I currently use. Probably there will be something more than this. Either be it an RNG manipulation, be it some faster strats, but just something new that saves a little bit more of time. Because as of right now, I do think it's possible to get the sub 1 hour with the strat that I use. It's just insanely unlikely for it to happen. So it's probably one of those cases where it's theoretically, it's not gonna happen possible, right? But theoretically it's possible. Gonna be very, like, it's always so exciting to split, man. I just want to see the split and be like, whoa, that's so much time save. I'm so excited, man. Let's get this. So I'm just gonna pretend like I'm playing. Yeah, I think I'm gonna get good RNG. So yeah, I knew that. I'm a genius. I can play with my hands, not on the controller. I'm a magician. So this was another case of where I just got really lucky. I only needed one try to get this. It could have taken much longer. I need to check something real quick. Okay. 689. So if I remember correctly, I had a very weird sound bug occurring at the end of this world in the cutscene. I don't know if that was... We will see if that's the case or not. There was some weird ass sound bug going on in the cutscene to World 5. I love this stage, man. It's so fun to do, especially at the beginning, like this part. I really like this. And all these small optimizations. Oh. The next stage I really don't like though. Pretty much the only reason why I don't like it is because of the frog. The frog is a bitch. You will see what I mean in a second. Actually you won't see it because I don't mess it up. But the frog jump is a bitch. Because for some reason I used to never have problems with it, but then out of a sudden it became like the hardest jump ever. So nowadays I mess it up quite frequently, which is really odd because it never used to be a problem. Obviously I occasionally missed it before, but not as much as I miss it now. But it has gotten a lot better too again. So let's get ready. The reason why it's so hard for me to split right now is because my split pedal is at a little bit of a different position, so I'm always like too conscious about maybe not resetting instead of splitting. Split it a little bit early, saved 9 seconds of my sum of best, 23 seconds. Like, actually, not exactly 23 seconds, but like, let's say, just say 23 seconds. So, was there a sound bug? I didn't hear one, because that was the cutscene where I had a sound bug happening. 1 second. So there I'm back. It was getting cold. It's like really freezing outside. It's not Norway kind of cold, but for Germany it's extremely cold out there. And my hands are getting way too cold all the time, and that sucks for gaming. So the next stage you might be thinking, how do you do this in an actual run? I've done it in my PB, and I do it still. It's not that hard as it looks, but I don't wanna, it's definitely something that takes practice. Let me just get this out of the way. You have to know how to manipulate the skull, and that beginning is also really difficult. And manipulating the skull, even I don't even know how to properly do it all the time. Sometimes it just does his thing, right? So this was another thing that I just got first try, which surprised me the hell, because that was something that I thought that take me a little bit longer, but I actually got that first try too. So at the end of the run, what I'm planning to do is, based on the result what I get, I'm gonna analyze how reasonable it is for me to be able to get that in a run. I think that's the plan that I have. Like, see what kind of RNG do I have to get for this run to happen, how many mistakes can I do, and stuff like that, depending on the result that I get. So I suspect most times save in Iceberg, Rocky Valley, and maybe Tower, not necessarily, Tower a little bit. But like Iceberg, Rocky Valley, and Tower are the, like you can see, I'm only 24 seconds behind my sum of best, ahead of my sum of best, only 24 seconds. Which is not that much, because this is basically spliced with near perfect RNG plus near perfect execution of the strats, and they're only being 24 seconds behind. So that I could have done better. So for example, you have to take this into consideration. The next stage, the RNG that I get there in this Spliced Run is insane. You rarely get that ever in a run. Like, when you get this RNG in a run, you literally wanna cry because it's so good. And this might be necessary for me to get a sub 1 hour, as with the current strats. So just have that in mind. How unlikely it might be is to get a sub 1 hour. So getting this RNG is amazing. It saves like on average like 10 seconds, but it can save up to 15 seconds, right? It's insanely good. It's like one of those things when you get them, you just wanna be like, you wanna scream all over the place, man. It's amazing. I actually really like this song. I used to hate it. or not like it as much as I like it now. Hate, it's a little bit too much. I never really. It was like, oh, this shitty song. It was more like, well, there could be something better out there. So actually, this is not just a thing that happens with this game, but also with other games. But sometimes when you do a stage too fast, it actually is bad for you, right? And the better you get at the game, the more often it happens that you do a strat faster and faster, and at some point you have to fucking slow down because otherwise you die. And that's like that stage of what you just saw there is pretty much that stage. Like I never had problems with that stage, or like maybe at the start when I started running it, but at some point I was just like nailing it every time. It was just like really brain dead stage, and recently I've been going too fast on that stage, which had managed me to make me die there sometimes. So I'm slowing down there now on. So one part of it makes me really feel good, and another part of it is, man, shit, I have no problem, man. But problems are there to be solved. I'm getting ready to split. I'm so excited, man. It's like I'm a little child waiting to just like see my PB destroyed. I'm getting ready to split. This stage is really fun. I used to fucking hate that stage, but when strats change, also the liking of a stage changes often, which just makes sense. And oftentimes, the more you develop yourself with a run, the stages aren't getting harder, you just make them harder, and then they get harder because of that. For example, to me, the hardest stage back in the day was 4-9, but then I made other stages harder, and now other stages are harder than 4-9, but 4-9 has never changed. Nice. So 34 seconds I'm ahead of my sum of best, and 1 minute and 11. Oh. So what 6? I wasn't entirely sure if I should go for the 6-7 strat that I went for, but it's technically something that I aim for to get in a run. So I decided to go for it. You will see that what I mean in a second, or like in a second, in a few minutes, but that was something where I wasn't really entirely sure whether I should do that or not. But it's technically something that I try to go for, but it just doesn't work out every time. So I just thought, well, I'm gonna implement it in here. Because why wouldn't I, right? So the next stage is a stage where I think there is a pandy in it, I think. Or maybe I just have a dirty mind. But do you see it, what I see? I mean, it kind of looks weird for a panty, but it's just a little bit of a triangle, but you can have your imagine go right, you know what I mean? So there's also a dig in the on the airplane. I don't know if you can spot it. Like look at the things that like I don't know how they are called, like from the airplane, like the thing, like turbines, like you know what I'm trying to say, I think, like these Like those things that make the, like, you know what I mean. Fuck, man. Speaking a different language is hard sometimes. But just look at the middle. You can spot the dick, man. So this stage is really fun too. It's one of those stages where it's really important to walk um, off the platform as precisely as possible. Um, this stage I could have definitely done better. Like, there were two walks off the edge that were not that good, in my opinion, from base of my judgment. So this stage I actually really like now. It's actually kind of fun to do these jumps. Those jumps are actually really fun. So the next stage is that where I was unsure whether I should go for it or not. But it's, like I said, technically something that I aim for, and it has happened a lot of times already in my PB, so why wouldn't I go for it? So the reason, like, not because the stage is so hard or anything like that, because it's so unlikely for me to get the first try wall kick and the double tumble here. The strat is actually not that difficult if you know how to do it. It's just, it's unlikely to happen because you have to get a first try wall kick. So I suspect not being much better than my sum of best. I would say maybe a second or so. I wouldn't. There is a slight possibility that it isn't even better, but I doubt it honestly because I think those aren't the splits that I used to have. I think that this is definitely better than my sum of best. Yeah, definitely 5 seconds better. Most 6 almost. Well, my sum of best is actually just 4. My PB is 6. So World 7 will be a lot of time save for my PB. A lot. And also a lot in sum of best. Like, I suspect like half a minute of time save. Half a minute, I say. I need to write something real quick. There's not much to commentate for me anyway. So this I actually got first try. So it didn't take me long at all to get that. So this strat is actually really fun. It's like the save the penguin strat, which actually saves time. So usually you would kill them, but with this strat you don't kill them. So it's kill or save the animals reverse pretty much. So the clip that you will see here, how SparkCC likes to call it the phaser clip. So what you do here is basically this. I plan on doing this in a run because it seems to be somewhat consistent. Like, it's not really consistent, but at the same time, the other thing is not much more consistent. Or like, let's just say the other thing just varies heavily in what time you get. So that strat is really fun to do, but also really devastating because the chance of it not going wrong is pretty much there, and it's not fun if it does go wrong. So in my PB I died on 7-4, and that was not with the phaser clip. I really like this music. Fuck, the good music is gone. Like ever since I started running this game and got better at it, like obviously not from the get-go I dreamed of the sub 1 hour, but whenever I got a little bit better and got closer to 110 and stuff like that, I always wanted the sub 1 hour to happen. Just there's something very big to me about a game reaching under an hour. Some people might think it's just an unnecessary goal or something like that, but there's something really fun about having, like, reaching a milestone, like being able to complete the game in sub 1 hour. So this is also very rare to happen, what I did here. So this basically requires you 2 instances of good RNG and then really good execution for you to be skipping that item box, because if you just mess up slightly, what that means is you're not going to get basically to the door in time. This I got first try too. So that's really awesome. So a lot of the tedious parts I actually just got first try, which really made me happy. So I didn't waste a lot of time there. This could have been realistically 14 seconds faster. That there is a strat that you can go for. Actually, yeah, that's correct. It could have been 14 seconds faster, like 750. This could have been. Because in stage 5, like 7-5, there's a strat that you can go for, which is insanely difficult, and you have only 1 shot at it. That saves like that amount of time. I suspect that in the future this might be something that is attempted, or this has been attempted by Spark City before, back in the day. But to me I don't know what it is, but I'm really just inconsistent with it. I'm just really inconsistent with it, honestly. And I feel like when I go for it in a run, it's just guaranteed time loss. I don't actually know what it is, right? When I did this on an emulator back in the day, like I just had a really good visual cue because it was on an emulator. But since I've been playing on console for so long, like I feel like on Super Game Boy there's just not a good enough visual cue for it, or not as good as I was playing on when I was playing on emulator. I feel like in general that emulator has a lot of better visual cues because it's just much more precise, I feel like. That's an advantage of playing on an emulator. But why do I even talk about it? Systems shouldn't even be compared with one another. I think it makes no sense. But that's not what this video is about. Don't wanna make it a topic about how people should go about system differences, even though I have a very strong opinion about it. And I like to talk about it because I like to spread my point of view in regards to it, because a lot of people, to me, just have a very bad view on it because of their own personal biases, if that's what I mean. Like, a lot of people have a certain oh. See? Save 50 seconds, 40 seconds over my PB. So, I'm technically already under the sub 1 hour. As you can see. 57.2. So what I wanted to say is, I feel like when it comes to system differences and stuff, people tend to talk more out of an emotional standpoint rather than a more logical standpoint. When it comes, for example, to people being obsessed with having systems to compete with one another, I think that comes from the obsession with competition, right? And if you wouldn't have this obsession with competition, then you would see how it makes zero sense to compare different systems to one another. So this strat is also something that I go for in a run. Not every time, but it's definitely on my list on always implementing it in it. Or like not always, but like it's definitely on there on my plan on doing it. It's definitely on my plan on doing it. So this strat that you see here is actually really fun if you actually get it. It's actually, there's a somewhat consistent setup for it, but I don't always get this in a run like that. The last thing that I want to add to what I just elaborated on with the systems and stuff like that is, I really just think that people, when it comes to competition, they're so obsessed with it that they choose to make less sense, and instead of just adapting on what reality actually is, right? Instead of realizing their own obsession with it, and I just think it makes them less. It makes them make less sense. That's the last thing that I want to add to it. There's more to it, but I don't like. I don't know why I even started talking about this, but like I said, I like to get my. I like to express my point of view on this whole discussion because I just don't like it. I just feel like my impression of how most people view it is I don't like it, you know. I don't think that way, and that's why I like expressing my opinion in that regard. So I'm not saying that most people view it in that obsessive way, but that's kind of my impression of it. So, but let's focus on the run again. So that RNG that you saw me get in 8-4, I actually got in. I got also first try. So, and that might be required in order to get the sub 1 hour. So, remember like when I said like this insane RNG maybe is required in 5.5, 5.6. Well, now put that together. Like, how realistic is it for me to get the sub 1 hour with such an insane RNG requirement and too inconsistent of RNG manipulations as of right now? So shit's fucking lit, man. No, it's not. But who, like I said, I will make analyzations after this run and see. Like, it's not going to be like I'm not going to go too in depth. I'm just making educated guesses, pretty much. So this jump is really cool. So as you can see, we pretty much already proved the sub 1 hour is theoretically possible with the strat that I use, because I'm already under my time, under it from the sum of best, and I'm not gonna lose time. So we already proved it, but let's see how far can we get below the sub 1 hour. So, and keep in mind, there isn't any severe execution errors within this run, right? It's just insane RNG and insane executions, and we are barely 0.5 seconds under sub 1 hour uh, after the after Iceberg, after World 7. So just just realize how fucking insane a sub 1 hour is with the current strats. And it's not like there's like it's crazy, man. It's just crazy. I want to become this reality, man. I want to have a sub 1 hour in my book. This is one of the easiest stages in the game. So this strat I got in my PB as well. This is really insane strat to me. You only have really one shot at it, or it results in a big time loss. That's pretty much with all the advanced strats in this game, that they have a high cost if you mess them up just once. And some of them have a high reward like that one, but not all of them. So this is one of the stages also that if you do them too fast, it results in death. So the next stage just didn't take that long either. I think it was like 3 tries or so. We're starting to get to the end of this. Actually, it was actually quite fun for me to do. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I at first thought this would be tedious because I'm just sitting here commentating a video. But it was actually much more fun than I expected it to be. I just thought I would fucking hate every single second of it, but that was not true at all. I actually fucking enjoyed it. Kind of felt like a marathon run, you know what I mean? Like an online marathon run. That's how kind of I feel right now. So it was actually quite enjoyable. So obviously I'm not gonna save these splits, otherwise I'm going to die of, I don't know, frustration because I never see green split in my entire life ever again. Occasionally maybe in World 1, but that's pretty much it. And when I say occasionally, then I mean really, because getting the time to beat my sum of best is actually quite insane. This is gonna be a huge fucking split. I can already see when I look at the time. Like, this is probably gonna be a half a minute time save over my sum of best. My assumption. Oh, it was actually 40 seconds. Insane. Oh, what happened to my... something bad happened to my monitor. So, can we get the 58? So we are almost a minute ahead of the sub 1 hour. But I don't think we can, man. I don't think we can. So last split, or not last split, but the second to last. So this strat is actually quite hard too. It requires good RNG, otherwise you can't really go for it. And also you can easily die from falling objects as well. I hope you like the layout as well. I thought this would be like the best way to make it, to show it, like with the splits aside of it. So, and now, like I said, like just remember how much RNG went in my favor in this run, because it's spliced, right? And now just get ready for the next stage. This is also like something that is as rare as the 5-6 one, might even be rarer, and harder as well, because in 5-6 you just get it when you get the RNG. In this case, you can even mess it up, right? So, and this might be required as well. So you see why even after I see that it's theoretically possible, I just don't think it will happen with this current strats because of how insane it actually is. Like, and we're barely just a minute ahead, like we're not even a minute ahead of the sub 1 hour. Just barely, almost a minute ahead. I'm starting to get hungry, man. Those are the noises I always do during sex. Oh, this was actually really cool. So what happened here is I almost got bad RNG, but just almost. So something very coincidental happened. I hope that it is a word, coincidental. I think that's a word. Hopefully I didn't just make that word up, coincidental. It sounded like it would make sense in that. So, see how close that was? I'm wondering if that maybe even saved me some time, because of me bumping against that door. It might have put me slower on the ground, making me save even more time. But I'm not sure, that's just like a thought that just came into my head. So I get ready for the next split. Kind of feels like I'm on such an amazing run right now. Should have... I would say... Well, wouldn't it be funny if I would have just live streamed it and pretend like it was a pre-B? But then I thought, like, even if I afterwards say that it's a joke or something like that, people would probably misunderstand it and misinterpret it as me cheating. So I don't want to do that. I don't want anybody to get that misunderstanding. 4 seconds. So we're gonna save some time here as well. I waited for a pretty good panel on the boss side. I don't want to be known as the next Todd Rogers, you know, but But I mean, to be on the level of Todd Rogers, what you need to do is you don't even have to have you don't even have to have you don't even have to have evidence for anything. Like, it's actually kind of crazy. Like, I could have waited for a better pattern. So a better pattern would be if there would be a second barrel on the middle platform as well. So I would immediately throw it to him, I guess. Actually, does that make a difference? I don't actually think it makes a difference if I think about it. Or does it? I think it doesn't actually make a difference. It might, I'm not sure. So get ready. So like I said, this is going to be a 59 or a 58, but I'm doubt it's gonna be a 58. If it's a 58, then it's probably a 58, 59 or some shit like that. So here it comes. What's the end time? 59:02. So close at the 58. So it's theoretically, it's not probably going to happen with the current strats possible. So that's kind of my take on it. So obviously I could have done all of these strats even better, so it could theoretically go even lower. So I would say that theoretically a 58 would be possible, but like we have to stay realistic, right? This was already like this is how my run probably will never look like, right? Because the amount of insane RNG there is, the amount of insane execution there is, right? So 57 seconds, like, so execution is always something that I can just grind to get, right? But I mean RNG as well. But like 57 seconds, right? So let's just look at it. 5-5. Let's just say I get average RNG, which is like a 120. That's 10 seconds. Let's say I get average RNG on 8-4. That's 13 seconds. So 23 seconds. Let's say I get average RNG on 9-3. That is 10 seconds. That means 33 seconds. So that still makes us in the realm of possibility for the sub 1 hour. So 33 seconds. So 25 seconds we still have left for this for the fifth sub 1 hour. 25 seconds. So is there anything else? Let's say I'm going to just address like kind of like the RNG element of it. So 25 seconds. World 3 is for something that is like 25 seconds. I can see me get I would say let's minus 3 seconds of World 3. 22 seconds. World 2 theoretically can happen like in the Spliced Run. World 1 as well. I had better World 1s than that. World 4 can theoretically happen that way. World 5, I already minus something of that. World 6 actually, there's this weird thing that I did. Oh, stop. World 5, World 6, there's like the advanced strat that I did there, which is very unlikely this wall kick that I did there. I would just minus 5 seconds off of that. 17 seconds. So, World 7, that insane strat that I did in 7-7 that can happen obviously, but it won't. Like, I can already tell. It's right now still there's much development left for it to become reality. In theory, it is possible. In theory, with the strat that I currently use, but realistically, it won't happen unless we find a way to more precisely manipulate the RNG and find even better strats to make up more time. Right? I this was not any analyzation that I just did there. This was just me like thinking a little bit about it. Um, can just really tell it's not gonna happen for a while, but I'm pretty sure that at some point there will be somebody to get the sub 1 hour. If it's not me, it's going to be someone else. It might also be like I don't consider sub 1 hour, like I don't really consider loading speed, like different hardware, like the difference between hardware really time save, right? For example, in my head I don't compare different hardware to, for example, I personally don't compare Super Game Boy 1 to like Game Boy or vice versa. So to me this is how it is on Super Game Boy, right? So my assumption is that in like an educated guess of me, or like not an educated guess, it's much more than that, I think, is I think that it might be possible that, for example, the Game Boy is actually faster for Donkey Kong 94. So it might be more realistically on Game Boy to get a sub 1 hour than it is um, on Super Game Boy. But personally, I don't consider time to be saved of different hardware to be relevant. To me, it's all about making the time, making the strats better. So you know what I'm trying to say. So that's the time that I don't consider that to be actual time save. Is what I'm trying to say. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video of my going over this video. So like I said, my conclusion as of right now is that it's theoretically possible, but without more development in terms of strat and RNG manipulation, it's probably not going to happen for a long while. And if it's not me, it's going to be someone else. And thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. So, so one thing that I will do. So this was a dream. This is my PB. This was not my run. It's a sliced run. As much as I wish that was an actual run, it isn't. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.